And you have to yeah, go to a different level, of the, leave the, but it's not a spiritual bypass. That's the thing that I'm trying to reconcile, because there's some people who say, oh, well, if you're spiritual, you're supposed to be not angry and all that stuff. But that's an overlay. It's an idea that you should, and that you subscribe to, but it's not the genuine seeing that that person's not separate from you.
Well, again, yeah, and that's the whole spiritual bicep pass is a total concept because number one, anger can come, irritation can come, but it's very quickly gone because there's not an I am somebody else that starts the process of thinking.
Yeah, yeah. Because
And again, it's when you remain with your selfless self using mantra at first, as there's an I am somebody else that can do mantra, and then just the attention is it's crazy. It's like the vision is going in, and then from in being projected out, but knowing that this body and all of this is projected from. There's no sense of anything here. It's two eyes just in space. Like there's no nothing. Irritation can only happen when there's an I am somebody else that's opposed. Like we said, Maharaj gave the perfect example. I said if I went to Sandra's house and I told her, oh, I don't like your furniture, it's very this and this and this, and there would be a, oh, how dare you say this? With Maharaj, it was, would you like us to move you to a different room?
Yeah.
There was no, my projection was met with formless and just,
Yeah.
there was no place for it to land because it wasn't projected back to me. It was like, if you're shooting in the air, basically, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to spew this. I think Buddha said about, if you're angry and I don't accept it, then it goes back to you. It's like it's a flow. So there's no irritation because there's just nothing that it can land on. And if there is, then that's something that I'm still believing, some concept I'm holding on to. I mantra through that. I remain with my selfless self. Because after a while, when you're with your selfless self, the outside just doesn't, the outside is inside. There's no outside, there's no inside. So there's nothing other that's going to bother you because there's no outside and inside. There's no separation of anything.
Right. And he didn't go into sympathy with you. Like, of course, it's terrible that there are these things crawling on the wall.
Exactly. Because again, nothing, something, nothing. In between the nothing and nothing, there appears to be something, and Maharaj just discarded that appearance.
Exactly. He wasn't colluding with you in a sense. Yes,
exactly.
Perfectly right. This is a terrible place, but what can we do?
Exactly. Or he didn't say, you know what? You're very lucky you got an ashram place here because many people we send to the hotels, and you have a room right next to the ashram. I've been very generous in giving. No, nothing like that because there wasn't an I am somebody else that took any offense at all.
Yeah, that's a good example, yeah.
He didn't take delivery.
Exactly. And at the time I'm so glad because at the time I was very irritated, but his calmness, his openness, his presence just snuffed it out. And it was really wonderful because afterwards I said, oh, no, everything's fine. I don't know what happened. And he's like, okay, no problem, So
he just diffused the energy.
Exactly.
The energy
exactly.
Find resistance, so it just went away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can, even though another person, so to speak, the selfless self in another form that's appearing inside of yourself, knowing this, you can be the formlessness that even if that form is throwing some kind of irritation, it passes right through.
Yeah.
You could be the calm.
Yeah, that's actually a very high calling, I think. To be able to live your life in such a way that you just absorb everything. You know, you don't take it personally. You don't feel like you have to defend. You don't feel like you just see it, acknowledge it, and don't do anything with it.
And it has to be genuine, using mantra.
Yeah.
It has to be genuine. It's not something you can pretend.
No, it's not a. It's not
You know, it's not a.
you know, my mind immediately wanted to make a strategy out of it.
Exactly. And it can't be that, because as long as, I think Nisargadatta Maharaj says, as long as you see others, you're going to fear them. Only you can love them when there's no separation.
Yeah.
So to try to convince the mind that, okay, I'm being nice to this person, it's like if you were to hold the door for somebody, and then a van opened and like 20 people started coming, you're holding the door. Okay. Because you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and you trying to be nice, another van pulls up and more people come in, there's going to be irritation, like, come on, am I holding the door or what? And that ruins the whole thing, because it's not genuine.
Oh. So you're trying to do something in order to get somebody's love, or to avoid some sort of recriminations.
Exactly, and there are no others, so it's going to bounce back on you always.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
It has to be authentic, from the authentic, spontaneous action, like Maharaj says. This will happen because everyone is appearing on your spontaneous presence. Everything is appearing on your spontaneous presence. Therefore, my presence is in every being. I don't have to try to pretend to be nice or try to pretend. Spontaneously, it happens in the moment. Whatever's happening is happening. And it could be perceived from outside as, oh, that wasn't so good, or that was good, but it doesn't matter because it's just passing through. And there's no ownership taken. So my mind can't sit there afterwards and say, oh, you know, you held the door for the first 5 people, but then you got upset about the 6th one. Because I'm not a doer, I know this. Spontaneous action is occurring, and I'm just 2 eyes with space, and all of this is appearing inside that space. I remain with my own self. The door stops being held, and I walk inside, but I'm not irritated about it. It's not an experience, because there's no experiencer being created that could experience it. It's just a spontaneous activity. Like Maharaj says, do you choose to see this dream or choose to see that dream? No, it's all spontaneous action.
Yeah, that way there's no guilt or shame about it, you know.
There can't be, because there's no deed and no doer, and it's all coming in the form world, and the form is inside my spontaneous presence. All of it's occurring inside myself, just like in a dream. If I wake up from a dream and I held the door for 5 people and then I walked away and 4 other people were outside complaining, would I punish myself when I woke up and I said, wow, that was really rude of me to do that? No, it's spontaneous action.
Yeah.
And that's this Viveka separating the true from the false. All of this out here is appearing on spontaneous presence. Anything I can see or interact with in any way is appearing on that spontaneous presence as if it is a dream. So I don't take ownership of anything, nor is there any deed or doer. It can't be a deed or doer because, like we said, inside this room is that bubble of illusion that all of us are in. Even if I'm giving you coffee and whatever, I'm not doing anything. I can't be doing anything because it's all appearing on the spontaneous presence. Therefore, it's discarded. If I have a thought of, wow, I hope these folks are having a good time, or, oh, look, I didn't clean the floor and I have company. No, because it's in a dream. And if these thoughts do come, they're discarded. They're not activated as I am somebody else and I'm thinking these thoughts.
Yeah, it just occurred to me that that's the razor's edge that they always talk
Yep, that's the razor's edge.
You fall back into the habit of like a person doing something or not doing something and feeling good or feeling bad about it, you know. But that's just a lot of stuff.